Welcome back to my channel. I'm Nelson Paredez-Parks, and today we'll be talking about what I call my power hours. All right, please be honest with me. Have you ever worked a 12-hour day and still felt like you got nothing important done? You were busy, you were moving, but at the end of the day, you're asking yourself, why am I still in the same place? That's not really a time management issue. That's a power hour issue. Today, we're going to break down how you can find, protect, and maximize the most valuable hours of your day. This isn't just about working harder. This is about working smarter, leveraging your best hours to build your business, your goals, and your life. Now, let's get into it. So, why power hours matter? Well, we all have 168 hours in our weeks, the rich, the poor, and all the people in between. But the difference in each type of people is how they choose to use their 168 hours of every week. Most people waste their hours by reacting to emails, scrolling through social media, sitting in pointless meetings, or hitting the snooze button in bed. But high performers, entrepreneurs who scale, they protect their power hours like a lion protects its cubs. For example, my power hours fall into these certain categories. The first one is called my powerful question hour. So that is an hour that I have a meeting with myself every week where I'm asking myself deep questions. I could ask myself questions like, who is the most important person that I need to call this week? That if I call this person, it'll impact my week. Or another question may be, what bill do I have to pay off this week that if I don't pay off, it might cause me problems if I'm not paying it off? So again, it's just about asking myself deep and powerful questions, during that hour. So I like to have that hour meeting with myself once a week. And I notice that the weeks that I don't have that question hour with myself, I think I have a very different week. So it's important to ask these deep introspective questions of ourselves. The next sort of meeting I have with myself is called my powerful proposal hour. And so that is the hour that I'm sending out enough kind of proposals out to people in the world. Because if I'm not sending out enough proposals, then my business is going to be hurting because again, I'm not putting enough out there kind of into the universe sort of thing. So it's important to make sure that you're sending out enough proposals on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. The next sort of meeting I have is my CEO planner hour. So this is the hour that I, as a CEO, am looking at all elements of my business, and I'm really just planning out the plan for my business. So again, I call that my CEO planner hour. Now, every one of these meetings doesn't have to be an hour with yourself. After you start getting good at this sort of thing, your meetings can be 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You'll just decide what you can get into your schedule every week. But I've found that the weeks that you don't have all of these meetings set into your week definitely is shifted and you get different results in your life. Then you have your financial hour. And again, I've talked in past YouTube videos a little bit about your money categories, today money, future money. And during this financial hour, I'm looking at what is all the money coming in and what's all the money going out. And I'll look at what people do I need to call, what conversations do I need to have. So I'm kind of planning out what are those financial decisions that I have to make? Are there things you have to cut out of your business? Are there people you need to bring into your business? Do you need to hire more people? Do you need to fire more people? What do you need to do to get your business to the next level? So again, these are the kind of questions and things that you're planning out during your financial hour. And then you're taking some action steps. So it's not just about planning. If all you do with all these meetings is just plan, but aren't in action with the steps that you actually plan out, then again, your results are going to, be suffering as well. So another sort of meeting, which is another power hour category I call it, is my client fishing and mining hour. So that is my hour that I spend making sure that I'm actually fishing or mining my actual relationship tracker. So again, I'm going to look at my tracker and I'm going to look at all the people on my tracker and be like, what people do I need to check in with this week? Or what are the most important people that I need to have conversations with this week? So again, and then I'm fishing. I'm making outbound calls. I'm sending texts out to certain clients. I'm connecting or fishing to create some new business or some new opportunities. So again, sometimes you're going to catch a little minnow. Sometimes you're going to catch a whale. So you need to make sure that you're spending enough time every week fishing. And again, one other conversation that we'll have in a future YouTube video is, are you fishing in the right ponds? Because you could spend your life fishing and just catching minnows all your life and you'll never get that whale. But at the same time, you could be spending all your time trying to catch a whale. And if you don't catch enough little mini fish or enough minnows, then again, you're going to be having financial problems as well. So make sure that you're spending time with minnows and also the whales. But again, that'll be a future YouTube video. So make sure that you're subscribing to my channel and staying connected so that you can keep learning some of the tips and tricks, I call them, to make sure that you're leveling up your life and business. So another category that I like to distinguish as a power hour is my social media hour. And so during that hour, you're planning out your social media posts, what you're going to be sending out social media wise, planning out or like downloading the photos from your phone and getting them into the structure, into your calendar of how you're planning out your social media stuff. So again, there's weeks that like if I forget to plan out social media stuff, then I might not have certain social media posts go up. And again, every time you're not staying in the loop and getting your materials out to people is a day that, maybe you'll miss a potential client or miss a potential person that you could be doing business with if you're not at least getting your information out. So it is important to stay connected. When I started doing social media, like I didn't love it. And I hate to say, I still don't really love it, but it is the world that we live in now. So it's important to make sure that you're spending some time to just get your messaging out into the world. Now, I'm not wanting you to scroll other people's social media stuff. So that's not what I'm recommending during the social media hour. It's really planning out your stuff. So I don't want you stuck just looking at everyone else's, kind of post, because again, you're going to get hooked into their ecosystem. And that's not what I'm talking about in any way, shape, or form when I talk about social media hour. It's not just time that you sit there and scroll and look at other people's stuff. It's planning out the social media post that you want to put out for your brand or messaging that you want to use. Another hour that's important is your organizing hour. With as many projects that you might have in your life, if you don't stay organized, life will be messy. So an organizing hour could look something like organizing your car, organizing your house, organizing your desktop on your computer, organizing your physical space. But it is important to make sure that every week you are spending a little time organizing to stay up with everything that you're up to. So just make sure that you carve out time in your schedule to spend organizing certain things. Another meeting that I like to have is my personal growth hour. And that's the time where I read, I learn a new skill, I listen to a podcast. You're really growing personally, It could be a time where you're meeting with your therapist, or it could be a time that you're meeting with your executive coach or life coach, where you're like planning out what's working, what's not working, having someone give you an outside perspective. But again, you're growing yourself, you're growing your cup. And I would say that most of the successful business owners that I know and that I work with, they make sure that they carve out time in their schedule to make sure that they're growing or learning a new skill weekly. One of the other power hours I like to make sure I have is my team meeting hour. And I hate to say that many times I'm not perfect at this, but the weeks that I don't have my team meeting or go over things that I need to go over with my team, things just kind of get lost in the ether. We're not on the same page. I, in my mind, have an expectation of what I want to see happen in a certain thing, and then it doesn't happen that way because, again, the team member might be just kind of doing their own thing. So it is important to have that team meeting to talk about, certain initiatives. And again, they need to be purposeful meetings that you discuss things that are relevant and important, not just a hash out or complaining session sort of thing. It needs to be like, a meeting where you talk about like what you're up to, what's working, what's not working, what you need to tweak, but make sure that you have a team meeting to kind of continue the collaboration with your teammates and yourself. Another meeting I like to make sure that I have is my project hour. So again, with all the things that you are working on in your life, your projects are not going to move forward unless you're really working on the project. So you have to spend time in your schedule where you're actually working on these physical projects. So you might have 5 or 6 projects for the week, and some projects might take longer, obviously, than an hour. So you might need to carve out 3 or 4 hours for that actual project that week. So again, you need to spend time doing the actual work that it takes to move that project forward. And it's really not about doing everything, but it's really about doing the right things at the right time and in the right way. Now, how to implement your power hours. So now that you know what my power hour categories are, here's how you make them work for you. First, schedule them. Don't just fit them in. Put them into your calendar as a reoccurring appointment and treat them like meetings that you have with your future self. Secondly, match them to your peak energy times. You may not have the same daily rhythm as I do. If you're sharpest in the morning, schedule your CEO plan hour or proposal hour in the morning. If you come alive in the evening, maybe your social media or organizing hour works best then. Thirdly, set clear boundaries. And when you're in a power hour mentality, you are doing only that one task. No phone call, no email, no multitasking. You're only focused on the activity of what that power hour is supposed to be for. A distracted power hour isn't a power hour. It's just another slice of busy time. And finally, prepare before you start. Come into each power hour with your tools, resources, and agenda ready so you can hit the ground running instead of wasting the first 15 minutes trying to figure out what you're supposed to do. The magic isn't in the label. It's in the discipline to showing up in the specific hour to do the highest value work and activity without compromise. Now, how do you protect these power hours? Well, let me give you the hard truth. You can know your power hours, you can have good intentions, but if you don't protect these hours, life will steal them from you. So here's how to protect them. Block them out in your calendar like it's a non-negotiable task, like it's a meeting with your future self that has to happen no matter what. Communicate your boundaries. Let your team, family know that this is what you're doing during that time. This is protected time, that you're working on those specific tasks. Eliminate all distractions. Phone should go on silent. Notifications can be off. Do this work that's going to be required during that power hour. And again, it's not about having it always be an hour. It could be 20 minutes. It could be 30 minutes. But make sure that you have figured out for yourself what those important categories are. Many of the categories that I shared with you today, I do truly believe that most business owners should have all of those categories implemented into their schedule. But if you, along your journey, start seeing that there's another power hour that you need to incorporate into your life to make sure that that happens in your life, make sure that you do so. You can't afford to give away your best hours to low value tasks. Remember, the most successful people aren't busier. They're just more ruthless with their focus. Even 1 power hour a day done right will outproduce 8 hours of distracted busyness. Lastly, today, I want to talk a little bit about the context, power hours in the context of your 168 hours. So now let's just zoom out. You've got your 168 hours every week. Most people waste 60 or 80 of them without even realizing that that's what they're doing. Your job is to really reclaim those 10 to 15 power hours each week so that you're really putting your time and energy in the right focuses. That's all it takes to really move the needle. The rest of your time, delegate, automate, eliminate, and schedule around your power hours. Remember, this is the equation. Power hours equals progress hours, no matter your industry, your goals, your stage of life. So what are you going to do next? If this conversation was meaningful for you today, drop a comment below saying, I'm claiming my power hours, and tell me, when is your peak focus time? Is it morning, afternoon, or night? And let's talk about it. And if you want more strategies to master your 168 hours your week, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it.